How long do you think you'll live? Is it possible to live forever? And what would happen if humans never died? Hi, it's me, and this is Life Noggin. According to the World Bank, the average life expectancy for humans is about 73 years old. This means that half of all people will die before reaching this age, and the other half will live longer than this. But no matter how long we live, we all eventually die. So how does the idea of living forever sound to you? Would you want to live forever, or would you rather die and move on? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If we're talking hypotheticals here, let's say science has advanced enough to where death is no longer an issue. Medical science has conquered aging, and we have found ways to keep people biologically alive indefinitely. There are some things that might stop us from achieving immortality, like wars, famines, and natural disasters. But if we could conquer these as well, what would happen? What would the world be like with immortal humans? How would society work if no one ever died? What would we even do with our lives if death was not an issue? First off, let's start with overpopulation. There are currently over 7 billion people on Earth, and we're adding about 8 billion every year. If humans were to live forever, then the population of Earth would increase until there are so many people that we would run out of resources. We would need a lot of food, water, and energy just to sustain all of these people, and there isn't infinite amounts of any of these resources. In fact, we've been depleting a lot of our natural resources at an alarming rate, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. When you think about it like this, it seems pretty unlikely that we'll ever achieve a point where we can sustain an immortal human population. Even if we invented better ways to grow food or find new resources, we still wouldn't be able to accommodate an endless amount of people. There would also be no room for more people. Countries like Bangladesh, which already have insane population densities, would become completely unlivable. The United Nations estimated that by the year 2100, the world population will reach 11 billion people. But they also predict that the population will begin to decrease after this point and reach around 6 billion by the year 2300. This is probably a good thing because Earth simply wouldn't be able to handle the strain of 11 billion humans. So if we were to live forever, we would need to leave Earth and colonize other planets and moons. Thankfully, we're already working on this with the Mars colonization project, the Moon Base Alpha project, not to mention all of the private companies who are interested in space travel. Now, if we had to put a number on how many humans could possibly live forever, it would probably be somewhere around 10 million. This is just a guess, since it takes into account the available resources and the living space that would actually be available for humans to live in. But what about psychologically? What would it be like for humans to live forever? Would we go crazy knowing that we would never die? First, we need to look at the psychological effects of aging. It turns out that there are certain personality traits that tend to develop as we get older. As you may have guessed, these traits aren't always good. A study published in the Journal of Gerontology found that neuroticism, which is the tendency to experience negative emotions such as anger, sadness, and self-consciousness, tends to increase as we age. Another study found that extroversion, or the tendency to seek out social contact and excitement, decreases as we get older. This means that as we age, we're more likely to become angry, sad, and introverted. Hey, and if we're stuck with these personality types forever, we probably wouldn't be the most pleasant person to be around. Then there's the boredom factor. Imagine you're at a party and you meet someone really cool. You two hit it off right away and decide to exchange numbers. But when you go to give them your number, you realize that you don't have it memorized. After all, you have no reason to remember it. That was 476 years ago. You're literally immortal. And now the person you were flirting with thinks you're a little weird. All that time that we spend remembering random facts and events from our past would be wasted. We would have no reason to remember anything because nothing would ever be lost forever. Sure, we could continue learning new things, but what's the point? None of it matters anyway. And with no death, there would be no sense of urgency. Nothing would ever be too late or too early. Why finish that book you started reading last week? Who cares? You have infinite time. There's no deadline for anything. There would be no reason to try and accomplish anything. We would essentially be in a constant state of procrastination. Then there's the reminiscing factor. Studies show that as humans, we love to reminisce about the past. As we age, we tend to reflect on our lives more often, which can lead to nostalgia. This is usually triggered by certain sights, smells, or sounds that remind us of our past. But if we lived forever, we would have no new memories to make, so we would just be stuck reminiscing about our past forever. And this can take a serious toll on our mental health. It's also been found that humans need to set goals in order to live happy and healthy lives. Without goals, we lose motivation and purpose. This is why so many retirees lose interest in life once they stop working. They no longer have a job to go to every day, so they tend to pass away not long after. Boy, we were to apply this concept to immortal humans, we would have people who have given up on life because there's no point to living anymore. And if all of this weren't bad enough, there's the existential crisis factor. How would an immortal person deal with the knowledge that everyone they know will eventually die? They would be stuck watching their friends and family pass away one by one, knowing that they themselves will live on forever. Eventually, they would probably reach a point where they didn't even want to make new friends, because they knew that they would just end up hurting them in the long run. So it's probably a good thing that we won't live forever. But if we did, humanity would definitely need to change. Humans typically aren't the best at adapting to change, though. When was the last time you tried something new? Maybe you tried a different brand of cereal, or took a new route to school or work. These are small changes, but they help you adapt to the world around you. If you never take the chance to try new things, you'll eventually become obsolete and fall behind. Well, that's what happened to the dinosaurs. They couldn't adapt to the changing environment, so they went extinct. And chances are that if humans were to live forever, we would need to change, or else we would become extinct. Like I said before, we would need to colonize other worlds, probably start living underwater, and maybe even begin living inside computers. That would require a drastic change to our lifestyles and our bodies, but it's not impossible. Just look at how much we've changed in the past 10,000 years. Our ancestors were hunter-gatherers who lived in caves and wore animal skins. Today, we live in high-tech cities and can communicate with anyone in the world in real time. If we were to live another 10,000 years, we would probably be unrecognizable from today's humans. So what do you think we would be like if we lived forever? Would we change for the better or the worse? Let us know in the comments below. As you may have noticed, there's a pattern in our videos. Every time we make a video about a scary topic, we include a section about how it probably won't happen anytime soon. And that's because we don't want to freak you out. We know that some people can be very anxious and even depressed over thinking about the future. So we always try to reassure our audience that even though something scary may be possible, it's not going to happen anytime soon. However, sometimes we do come across sources that make us think otherwise. I recently came across an article written by a scientist about how he believes that the human extinction event is near. He goes on to explain his reasoning, which is actually very concerning. We should probably talk about this in a future video, but it's important to note that we're not trying to freak you out. We just thought it would be important to address this. Now, back to the video. So do you think you would want to live forever? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, be sure to comment some video suggestions for us. We're always looking for new ideas, and our viewers' suggestions are the best. Speaking of which, let's move on to our next. This is our brain teaser. I have a question for you. What is always coming but never arrives? Well, it's actually tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I'm here. This has been Life Noggin. Don't forget to keep on thinking.